I'm from Delhi, NCR.
Oh. Is it from north side or south side?
North side, yeah.
So should we start now, DJ?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sure. So we'll start now, right? Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, just a moment. Yeah. So good day, everyone, and warm welcome to the Hacking Your Performance webinar series organized by Young Entrepreneur Forum. My name is DJ, right? It is my initial, and I am indeed honored for the opportunity to be the host for today's event. First of all, thank you very much, everyone, for taking time off your busy schedule to join us today. The sharing session today is hosted on both Zoom application and also the Young Entrepreneur Forum Facebook page. We at Young Entrepreneur Forum aims to provide innovative solutions via initiative dialogues about pioneering trends and groundbreaking changes in different fields of industry. Following the great success of our last events, we have successfully delivered talks that impacted across ASEAN countries, Asia, and Europe. And today we are honored to have Mr. Abhejit with us today. Hi, Mr. Abhejit.
Hey,
Mr. Abhejit has a long CV over here. I'll just quickly summarize. So Mr. Abhejit works is multifarious in nature, spanning inclusive innovation, space research, and enabling entrepreneurship. As an entrepreneur, he has founded two tech startups in the past. He has served different roles in the platform, including the National Association of Software and Services Companies, NASSCOM, Indian Maker Movement, the Fab Foundation, which is an MIT initiative, the IEEE and VARSITI, a community under the International Space Science Institute. He has published research works at the Solar Physics Conferences. He has served as the fellow of the Tata Trust and Government of India for Swachh Bharat mission in promoting sanitation innovation. He has also contributed to policy documentation in sanitation, education, outer space, and innovation with multiple government bodies, NGO, and UNICEF. Being a global shipper, he leads the social entrepreneurship project in NACFR. He also served as the executive director for Rush Ecosystem, a global non-profit think tank that facilitates economies and institutions to implement innovation ecosystems to support global goals for a sustainable future, right? So indeed, we are delighted for Mr. Abhejit to have the awesome sharing for us today. Mr. Abhejit, would you like to start sharing your experience with us?
Absolutely. So primarily, like the topic I chose for today's session was how to start up as a student entrepreneur. Now, primarily my journey actually started while I was in college, which was during my second year of studies. And I always had this, uh, I always wanted to work on some practical stuff, and which I was missing during my college days. So I joined a startup, which was a private robotics company, and we were doing a lot of research in the automated systems and robotics domain. And it gave me a lot of understanding on how practical systems work. Now, I went around and spent about a year and a half with them and learned a lot of things. They were primarily delivering R&D projects, and they were doing a lot of research for institutes, and they used to do a lot of these workshops and seminars for students who wanted to take their first step into robotics or electronics as a career. Now, while in that year and a half, I actively immersed myself into the overall understanding of how that company was working. And sadly, after like about the year and a half later, the company had to split, and most of its operations had died down. But for me, and my team, obviously here we were like about 7-8 people, and we are managing an entire region for the company in the central state of Maharashtra. uh, so we had all the knowledge, we knew the right people, we knew how things were happening across in the company. So one fine day I thought, like, let's try and do that on our own, because we have that domain knowledge and understanding. And it just hit me, some of these friends, they came together, and then we started our first company. Now, while doing that as a student entrepreneur, it really, one was, I obviously did not have to spend a lot of time, because we knew how things were working. And a lot of people gave us the opportunity to work with them, just because we were students and we were experimenting something, and we are obviously giving a certain quality uh, to to the people that we work with. So there was a lot of support that we received, uh, just being students, and it gave us a lot of flexibility to work across. Even our college helped us a lot. They gave us actually our first break, wherein they were conducting different workshops, and they helped us. They told us that, okay, why don't you, Abhejit, come and do this workshop for us, because we eventually would give it to some other company, but we'd like to promote you as an entrepreneur within our institute. So that's where we got our first break. Then some of my uh, mentors in different institutes, they gave us an opportunity to teach or conduct these kind of sessions or do project work with them. And that actually led us to the next scale. And we were doing about 2,000 to $2 to $3,000 in sales every semester. So it was huge as a student entrepreneur. So it gave me a lot of flexibility to one, obviously taste how entrepreneurship is done, how to run my own business. As a student entrepreneur, I got the chance also to represent at a uh, lot of competitions and a lot of different platforms representing my college. So, and my college actively promoted that. And this was back in 2010 to 2012, wherein like the startup or the entrepreneurship buzzword was very new and upcoming in a country like India. And so that's where my journey started. And I saw a lot of my fellow friends were also running different startups, and it gave us really the opportunity to mix and match things. And though we were doing quality work wherever we had that opportunity to, like, even though we failed in a lot of places, but we were given a leeway because yes, we were also students and we were experimenting it. So that really boosted us as a confidence. And about 2 years later, my college also offered me an incubation. We had like an incubation center that was set up in the college, and we did that. We got the support from the institute itself. We participated in a lot of competitions. We won a lot of prizes. And I think, like, from there to cut short to today, I think the entrepreneurship world has grown so much. We see a lot of a lot of government initiatives also coming in. There's a lot of awareness among students also that, okay, I want to run a startup, I want to set up a business. And this is a huge opportunity for you to take that step, because one, you don't have the fear of failure. Like, even though you're studying, you always have that fallback place that you can always go back and do a job somewhere. But then when you're doing a startup, it teaches you so many things, right? And during the college, you have the time to experiment a lot of things, be it if the product that you're building or the service that you're offering. Obviously, even if your professors can come to help you out, you can use the college facilities to maybe prototype certain things. And obviously the market opportunity, like if you're building a consumer product which is especially targeted towards youth, then you have the first customers right around you. You can gather so much feedback just by talking to your friends within the college. Like, I think on an average, any college or university would have at least 1,000 people in its vicinity. And there's, if you're starting a consumer business or anything, a business which is targeted towards youth, then you have like your first customers, your market research, everything is right there in front of you. So you just have to go around and ask, and that feedback becomes very critical to take it to the next level. Like, once you have like the beta testing, the alpha testing, the MVP that is built in, you can find interns, you can like not just customers, you can also find interns, you can find co-workers. All of that is within that ecosystem that is available for you. So as a student, it gives you a huge opportunity to really go out there and test out the product without a fear of failure, because you can always go back to your studies or you can always find a job. But when you say, and maybe if that venture didn't succeed, right, the opportunity, like maybe you're sitting out for a company recruitment, you can always show that on your CV that, okay, you tried to build a business and this is what you were able to do. And even if you like, people have started up businesses that I know of, like something as simple as selling t-shirts, or setting up a photocopy center, or like dropping people, like ride hailing services within the university. And these are very small business ideas that you can experiment. You don't need to like build the next Facebook or the next Snapchat out there. You can start something small, and that gives you a lot of confidence to actually build something, build the next Facebook or the next Snapchat, if I may, or maybe even if the next Tesla. And a hack that I used during my college time also is, a lot of universities have these final thesis projects during their curriculum. So you have a huge opportunity to actually use that time, maybe even if you're just starting out in your final year of studies or in the final semester, you can actually take your startup as your thesis project. and spend that time into building something. And when your institute sees that, okay, yes, there is something productive coming out of that project, they will support you even more. Because these days universities get a lot of grants, they get a lot of support through different companies to uh, fund or to support entrepreneurs like you. So that's the kind of opportunity that you should look out for. And then obviously there are a lot of these local competitions that happen. There are a lot of national, international competitions that are especially happening for student entrepreneurs. So you have that opportunity to just test things out, uh, find the first customers or find the first team, and then really take it to the next level. So, and for me, like even back then, this is a decade back, like I found my first team within my friends alone. So we were like 7 people who just came together and started this business. And as I said, that we're making good enough money to also sustain ourselves. So basically it was, we were funding our own pocket money through the venture. So it was kind of fun. But and eventually after college also I wanted to take it forward. We got a huge investment opportunity. Sadly, due to a few things, I did not take that forward. But yes, people were interested in understanding in funding what we are doing. And they really liked the progress that we had. Like in a span of 3 years, we trained close to 500 students through our paid workshops. We did about 50 different research projects with multiple universities and multiple students through these initiatives. And it was fun. Like, and it really taught me a lot more than it could have, than I could go and work as an intern in some company, right? But then, yes, obviously I also tell this to a lot of student entrepreneurs who are just starting up, that maybe it's wise to actually get some industry experience before you start. Because what happens is, you always start with a lot of vigor. You start with a lot of enthusiasm that, okay, I'm starting my first startup. But then there are very simple mistakes that we make during the journey. So it is always helpful that you take some experience with a company, with a startup, or with an organization that teaches you how processes are built. Because that's very crucial when you are running your own startup. Because unless and until you have strong processes, you know what is the value of your time, the impact that you're making. Those are the like the softer things that you learn only when you're working for someone, right? And that experience really helps you out in starting your own venture. So I would highly suggest, like, if you want to start up, maybe just do an internship for 2 months for some at some place, and then maybe think on your idea. Because it teaches you a lot of things in a very, very practical way, and it sets you in some sorts of discipline about your own work. Otherwise you'll just like, okay, just because I'm running a startup, then like I'm working out of a cafe, I'm not doing a lot of work, I'm just posting cool quotes on Instagram. That's the mindset of entrepreneurship amongst a lot of students. And that's something that you wouldn't want for yourself, right? And I've seen a lot of people go down the drain, fail in their startup, just because they valued how they are perceived as an entrepreneur more than uh, actually running a business. So the core thing about a business is it should earn a profit, right? And if you're not doing that, then your entire exercise is a failure. So those are some of my opening comments. DJ, sorry, if you have something more that you'd like me to answer on, happy to.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that it is really insightful to listen to your experience. Just now you have mentioned that any small business idea, and then I mean just make a photocopy, running some errands around the campus, could be the good starting point for any current or the future entrepreneurs. And maybe you can share with us how for you, your experience, how did you actually get your ideas or concept for your business?
Absolutely. So as I said, like for my first business, I was like as I said, I was interning at a company. That company shut down, and we had the entire know-how about how to run that specific business. So I did I didn't do anything new, and that part I just brought together team and started doing what we are exactly doing, but it was under our own name. So yeah, yes, that helped me. And because we were known in the ecosystem, in the community, that these are the folks who are running such programs or doing such kind of research activities, people preferred us, right? So we had that because like I had credentials from my previous company. So that really helped. So I did nothing new. I just worked for some company, and that company stopped doing the work. I found a gap and I started replicating the exact same thing. Now, after I moved out from that, my second venture was an interesting idea, which again, like sadly it failed. But then how we started out was so it was called Mentor Buddy, which was a peer-to-peer mentoring platform for international students who were like going abroad and studying. Now, what happened like for about a year or so, and even till today, today, like a lot of my juniors or my friends who want to go abroad and study, they ask me that, okay, hey Abhejit, do you know someone who can help me out navigate? I want to go and study in the University of Texas. I want to go study in whatever in the London Business School or someplace else in the world, right? Do you know someone out there? And because I had friends who studied there or who were living in those countries, uh, I used to just connect them and advise them on how to make that transition or get them that kind of mentoring support. So while I was doing that over and over again, a lot of my friends that time had gone abroad for studies, and a lot of my juniors who wanted to go abroad used to connect with me to ask for that kind of advice. So I was constantly making these connections one on one, and that's where it hit me that yes, I have an opportunity that I can turn this into a business, right? Uh, can I monetize what I'm doing voluntarily into a full-time business opportunity? And that's where I started building a tech product around it. And it really got hit. Like we supported close to 1,500 students in our first year of operations. We're building a tech product which was not really my expertise, and I think that was one of the core reasons of why we had to also shut down. But then, yeah, we could not scale it up beyond a certain point of time. That was one of my experiences as a entrepreneur when I was finding that idea. So, yeah, hi DJ. So I think we lost you for a few seconds there, but I hope you got the gist of what I said. Sorry, you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't realize that my mic is mute. Yeah, so thank you very much. So yeah, I mean some technical issue just now, but it's okay. If a students, I mean for students now we have a brilliant business idea, and I think that we to further the startup, then we need some resources and some startup fund. Maybe could you share with us your insights on how could we actually look for potential investors who are interested in our business, and what are the criteria that how to pitch our ideas to these potential investors? Maybe you can share with us your insights.
Right. I would like to take a step back from the investment to actually starting up with the idea. Like, I think, as I said, that whenever you're starting up something, if you follow the statistics, we see that, or there's a wide known fact that 98% of startups fail, right? But if you dig deeper down into why they fail, like most of the research says that majority of the startups, which is close to 50% of the startups, fail because the product that they are building is not required in the market, right? So it is very important to first do your market research about the product, and then step into the venture that you're building. So unless and until you see a gap, like there is a real gap that you're addressing, don't go out there and build the product, because then like, and then when you go out and ask investors, that's the question that they'll ask you, that is this a real problem that you're solving? Is there enough market opportunity for the product or the service that you're building, right? So that's one to begin with. The second is how to start, like how to get the first startup fund is, I would say, uh, if you have some savings, if you get pocket money, if you can make some savings out of that, use that. There are a lot of free tools available on the internet that you can use to build your product, right? Unless and until it's a hardware product. For most software products, at least to get like the first 100 or 1,000 users, you can build an MVP which out of free tools which are available on the internet, right? I know a lot of my friends who are entrepreneurs who built their businesses just on automating a few things, like maybe just putting up a small Facebook shop or an Instagram shop, and they've started making money out of that just by utilizing few tools here and there, and it just like grows exponentially, right? So uh, it is, I think it's a misconception that you need a lot of funding to start up a company. uh, my second startup, as I said, which was the student mentoring startup, while it looked like a beautiful website on the front end, I pretty much ran the entire operations, like for mentoring about 1,500 students, over Google Forms and Excel sheets. So we just automated like the entire thing. Like there was an HTML front end, but on the back of it, it was all Google Forms and Excel sheets that we ran the operations on. And we use something like back then we used Skype to do these video calls and all of that. But then, yeah, now you have Zoom and similar platforms out there. So there is a lot that is out there that you can just use and replicate. Maybe even there are softwares built already for something that you're doing. You just need to pay them a small monthly fee to access it, and you can build your business on top of it, right? So those kind of things are fairly possible. Uh, so that's the startup capital. The next is, if you are going to investors, I think even before going there, figure out if there are certain grant opportunities that are available with your institute or through certain competitions. So one of the ways that we built some of our startup capital was by going to a lot of competitions. One of the students that I'm mentoring currently, he won like I think 50 business plan competitions in the country, and they got their initial funding through just by the prizes by winning out of those competitions, right? So that helped them like get the first startup capital, and I think that's a very intelligent way to raise money, because I think the first few $1,000s that you need to set up your company, I think that can come through ventures like these, wherein you go out, you participate in competitions, you win those competitions, and yes, then you put that money to building what you're doing. And as you're doing that, you can go to bigger competitions, you can get to larger prize monies, and you can fund your venture through that. And that's exclusively available as a student in a university, right? So a student status is very, very useful if you use it the right way. Uh, and then eventually, then when you have like enough users on, or you have enough customers with you, that's when you should go out and approach an investor, because a lot of students have this misconception, or a lot of startup entrepreneurs actually think of funding first than building a business. What any investor is going to ask you out there, and I've been on the other side, like I've been an investor, uh, like I've represented investors, so I've been on the other side and I know how they think. So they would like to see some real traction. They would like to see if you have customers, they'd like to see if you have users, how many active users. It's not just like, okay, I have 1 million users, but do you have only 1,000 active users? Does that like make sense? So even if you have 1 million users and you have only 1,000 active users, it wouldn't make a lot of sense. You need enough active users on your platform. Or if you're building a hardware product, do you have an MVP, right? Do you have at least a prototype of that product that you've built? And then you can go out and ask funding for that, okay, I've come to this level and I need some funding to go to the next level. And yeah, so those kind of things. And I would say like always go for equity or investor like VC money as the last option, because though it may feel like okay, it's free money, the investor is giving you so much cash just for in exchange of some percentage of the company, but then that's the most expensive deal that you will ever make, right? So always go for equity investment at last. That should be like when you have no other option, that's when you should pursue equity investment. uh, Always try and build your investment either through, as a student obviously there are grant opportunities, there are competitions, then obviously there is customer money. If you're selling something, you can obviously start and then keep funding your business, right? And once you have enough scale, always use VC money or investor money only when you have to, like, okay, your product could not be built without that money, or no one else is trusting you with that product except an investor, or when you need growth capital. Those are the only two conditions when you should approach an investor. Otherwise, there's no need. I hope I've
Yeah.
answered.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that I mean, really for most of us, I mean, for most of the students, for most of the entrepreneurs, we thought of the fund before venturing into the startups. But exactly as what you have mentioned, we don't really need to have a huge fund for, I mean, to fund any startup, right? And being I think that I do really agree with you on the insights that the student identity is a really good tool, being a student entrepreneur, because they have the added advantages that being a student, then you can actually compete in many, participate in many competitions, get some grants and so on and so forth. But I think that being a student entrepreneur, one of the biggest challenge would be to balance the academic requirements and while serving for the business. I mean, not everyone is like Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg who become successful after dropping out. Yeah, maybe you can share with us your insights on this matter.
Absolutely. So that's a very good question. I really love answering that. So one thing is your academics are very, very helpful. So don't miss on that. Uh, I think for me, my starting point was so I actually failed in my second year of engineering. I had like a gap year. I like I was I was okay at academics. I was not great at it, and because of some goof ups and stuff like that, I lost a year in college, and it was like a very depressing part of my life. Uh, but then it gave me an opportunity where I had like 6 months where I did not have to worry about studies. I did not have to worry about anything because I knew like uh, I had to go back to college in 6 months. So I used those 6 months to actually uh, build my business. And my core focus was how can I build something like this. And when I went to college, I then realized on how do I match my academics and my venture. So I did not go, that's where I said that I did not go full on into that venture. And obviously because I was doing that, a lot of my professors also helped me, that they would give me some lease out on like they would ease me out on
And thank
my
you to Mr.
my
Abhejit.
attendance metrics or my some of my marks or practical marks and here and there. So I got that opportunity. And obviously because I was running I was running a company, so my college principal also really appreciated me, and she gave me a lot of, like, she supported me a lot through this entire time. So that's where I say that once you start doing this, and because not a lot of students start up during their college time, so your professors or your institute will go a step further to help you out, uh, to help you succeed, right? Because your success also means success of the institute in certain ways, right? So you need to leverage that. So it is very important to manage your academics and your business. One of the best ways to do that is offset your business hours or your business cycle as per your academic calendar. I think it really helps, and just don't go too far because then it would become difficult to manage. Or if you see that there is growth happening and you have your exams coming in and you have your practical sheets to be filled in and all of that, find out ways on how you can automate most of it, right? Maybe hire interns, maybe hire um, people who can look after that for you while you're studying, right? Or maybe like just spread out your study time throughout the semester so that you don't get a lot of pressure during the exams itself, right? uh, so yeah, I think those are the few tricks that you can use, but definitely don't miss out on your academics. Dropping out may seem very cool, or you've seen like the Facebook founder dropping out of Harvard, or you've seen Bill Gates or Steve Jobs dropping out of college. But right, they went to Stanford, they went to MIT, and that's where they dropped out from. If you are able to go to that kind of a college or that kind of a university and then drop out from, then I'm not saying that okay, you're not as intelligent or as good as them, but they had that privilege that they could drop out from. And dropping out of MIT versus dropping out of some local college has its own pros and cons, right? Yes, so that's the difference. So I'm not undermining anyone's intelligence here, but yes, there is a certain level of difference that we have. And how many Facebooks were built, right? How many Apples were built before each of them were a success, right? And not uh, every entrepreneur who took a year off from college, or uh, who dropped out of college was successful, right? A lot of universities these days also offer you a gap year program wherein you can venture into something and then get back to your studies, so you have that time. The other way is, as I said, that you can use your internship period to actually build your business, or use your business as your thesis project, right? So those kind of things are helpful, where you're studying the exact same thing that you're building, right? So it really helps out. So if you can pursue your university to either let you run your company in your internship period, that's best. Let you do the project, which is, or build your thesis around the project, around the startup that you're doing. That's like the best thing that can happen to you. So you're basically then balancing your academics and your business both at the same time, but do not miss out on academics.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that I do agree with you that dropping out from MIT or Harvard is indeed a privilege, right? So that is the first challenge, being a student entrepreneur. And I think that there is a second challenge, being a student entrepreneur, would be the adversity and doubts. I mean, our friends are going to doubt us. Our family is going to encourage us to make safe move rather than giving full support. Then, yeah, maybe do you have any idea or any insights to share with us on tips on how did you actually manage to handle the adversity and doubts?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think I'm not sure how to answer this, but so I faced it myself. You if till the point of time that you are not successful, everyone will see you as a failure. So uh, a lot of my friends, like, they always kept on telling me that, oh, you shouldn't run a business, you don't know what to do, how will you do this, how will you do that. They were very discouraging. Like, a lot of my friends were very discouraging. But I tried. I It felt bad. Like, it really feels bad. Uh, there's no other way around it. But what you should try, rather than doing, is maybe surround yourself with people who support you in the right ways. You shouldn't have those kind of friends. Like, you need to have critics. That's a very important part of building a business or doing anything. Like, those critics, even though if they are your best friends, they help you improve. So you should always seek that feedback from people who are saying negative things about you, and you should listen to that very carefully. and understand what they are saying, why they are saying it, and see if you can build something to prove them wrong, right? Surround yourself with mentors who can guide you in the right ways. Uh, Ask help from your professors, ask help from folks in the business community that is around you. A lot of universities have guest speakers coming in. So, for example, like somebody like me who's now speaking to students out there, uh, for me, I have some years of experience as an entrepreneur, but then yeah, there are a lot of people who come down, and that I did the exact same thing. So there were guests who used to come and talk about their experiences or their businesses, and I used to go and then connect with them offline, like off stage, and ask them that, would you be guiding me, would you be helping me, I'm trying to do this. Can you tell me if I'm doing this right, or am I doing this wrong? Even from your parents, like I think that comes in a lot. Like until very recently, my parents still ask me to do like a full-time job. Even today, they ask me to, like, why don't you go and work and get like a monthly salary out of something than doing what you're doing today. But it's the thrill, like you like that fun, and that also comes out of concern, right? It's not always negative. It definitely arises out of pure concern that your friends or your family might have for you, right? They want you to succeed, they want you to have a good life and not struggle doing things. But I think the key here is persistence. And if you're able to show real business, right, that's where I said, like, a lot of students focus on being seen as an entrepreneur than actually running a business. So if you have money coming in, right, no one is going to question you again. If you show them the dollars, right, okay, here is what I earned out of my customers today, this week, this month, right, that's going to shut everyone up. Because if you're showing month on month growth, if you're showing them sales, no one is going to question you, no one is going to criticize you anymore, because that's real money that you're showing them, right? It's not just perceived thought that, okay, I'm just building a startup, I'm just doing something cool. Once you show them the money, I think people can shut up.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, our parents, our family, our friends are indeed concerned about us. I mean, if we are able to survive by 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 having this business, and if we are able to show them that, yeah, indeed we survive, and we survive very well, and I think that they will give us all the full support, right? uh, yeah. So let's go for the next questions. And for the participants over here, if you have any questions, feel free to just type in the group chat. If you would like to, you can also uh, turn on your mic and ask any questions to Mr. Abhijit. So meanwhile, I think I'll proceed with the questions. Just now you have mentioned the importance of your professors and also your college in providing your support. And I think that you have also uh, asked for some mentorship from some businesses. What do you think is the importance of having these mentors, business mentors, in guiding the student entrepreneurs? How could they actually approach any business mentors, and what they need to tell them, and ask them to guide them in the business? Yeah, could you share your insights on this?
Absolutely, sure. Um, there is a huge value in seeking mentorship. Uh, I think it's a very crucial part of running a business. Sadly, in the ecosystem today, like as a disclaimer, there are a lot of people who are uh, like there are wannabe entrepreneurs or wannabe startup guys. There are wannabe business mentors also out there. So a lot of people pose to be business mentors or business mentors just to probably take some sweat equity or earn out of you, right? So even as a startup, if you are seeking a business mentor, one, it is very important that you seek mentorship from people who have been there, done that, who have real credentials, uh, or a history to back what they are talking about, right? Most of the times, what also happens is even when you choose a mentor, you choose someone who's at a too high position, uh, and you cannot connect with them really, right? You need a mentor in your early stages of startup who can actually spend time with you. You need at least a few hours of commitment in a week to pick their brains. If you have like, if you get in a mentor who's like CEO of a big company, though getting that kind of a mentor is a huge deal, but that person may not be able to spend enough time with you during your startup building process. And maybe whatever, like the comments that they might give you, the suggestions that they might give you might be very superficial, and it may be very different from what you're facing at a ground level, at a reality, right? So they might give you very surface level mentorship, even if they mean it from the best possible ways. So choose a mentor who can spend time with you. That's very, very important, because you need someone who can understand the problem in depth that you're facing and then provide you with solutions, than just giving you like top of the mind ideas of solutions that may not really work in the real sense for you. So always choose a mentor, one who is who's related to the sector that you're working in, who has uh, a proven experience or expertise in that sector of your business. And second is choose a mentor uh, from that who can spend time with you. Don't choose a mentor just because he's too big, or he or she brings in very high credentials, but you need someone who can actually help you in your day-to-day business. The third is you need a mentor who can help you make the right introductions, right? Who will be like a reference for you out there in the world. So get that get that kind of uh, uh, experience with the mentor before you officially onboard them in some capacity. Fourth is always, if like in a lot of cases it is not required, but it is always good that you have certain goals or a mentoring agreement that is setting, especially if the mentor is asking you for an equity in the company, right? Do not shell more than like maybe 0.5 or 1% as a mentoring equity, because anything above that is not really helpful for you moving forward as a investor, like from an investor's perspective, unless and until the mentor or the advisor is putting in his own money in the business. I think the best way to give out equity could be like 0.5 to 1%. That's the ideal range. In some cases it could go a little higher, but then that's the ideal range that you want them to give. And when you're giving them equity, or when you're having such or maybe you will be paying them in a certain point of time in the future, have an agreement signed up, uh, where like you have a certain role and responsibility set between both of you, right? You should have like certain goals that you want to achieve through the mentoring relationship, and at the end of the month or at periodic levels you should review those terms, that okay, these are the things that I need help in, and this is where we've reached, and this is how much you've helped me, right? I think that brings in a lot of onus on the mentor themselves to perform, right? Because otherwise people are just there to look cool, that okay, I'm mentoring a startup, or startups bring in like a very high personality just to showcase that okay, I have a very uh, well-known person or a very successful person as my mentor or advisor. But you need someone, as I said, that who can spend time and who can really help you out. So yeah, that's it from my side.
Yeah, I think that we can't deny the importance of the mentor and the mentor who can actually spend time with us. I mean, when we are funding uh, our business and so on. Yeah, I think we have questions from the participants. Ms. Anupam, would you like to turn on your mic and address your questions to Mr. Abhejit directly?
Yeah, Sure. Thank you. And my question, I have two questions. So let me start with the first one.
Anupam, your voice is very low. I'm sorry.
Is it better now?
Yeah, much better.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I have two questions. So I will start with the first one. So see, in a constantly fast changing world, organizations focusing on social impact have no other choice than to reinvent themselves by collaborating with other stakeholders of the society or similar ventures to just reinvent your growth, your development by collaborating with other stakeholders of the society or similar ventures as that of yours. Yeah.
Sorry,
So,
I didn't get that question properly.
sorry.
I didn't get that question properly.
Yeah, so basically, I want to ask a simple what can be a development strategy if I suppose I run a social entrepreneurship venture, social enterprise. So what will be my development strategy that I can get collaborated with other stakeholders or similar ventures to just reinvent my social enterprise?
So do you want to like build a new product or do you want
Yeah,
to improve your product?
by collaborating with other ventures.
So yeah, I think the best way is to ask. I think that's like the simplest thing that I can tell you. Like if
Yeah.
you go out there and you meet like a lot of these business conferences that happen, a lot of these startup events that happen, if you find the right people, just go out there and talk with them. Like there's uh, most people are more than happy to collaborate with each other. And yeah, I think it's if it's helping you uh, build collective intelligence and perform better together, I think more people are in, like there's a lot of support that you can get from people just bringing together solutions or products that can help out the larger picture. So all you have to do is just ask.
Okay. So I need to focus more on my social impact. Like, how can I measure my social impact?
Yes, I think I'm not sure if I've answered your question correctly, but yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. So yeah, thank you. And my second question is like, what are the theoretical and practical gaps in social entrepreneurship studies in college sectors or in general or in particular?
I am not the right person to answer that. I
Okay.
haven't studied social entrepreneurship. Neither I am aware of social
Colleges
entrepreneurship.
doesn't. Yeah. Yes. Okay. No problem in that. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm done with the question.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Anupam, for your question. Yeah. For the participants, if you have any other questions, you can raise your hand, and we can actually allow you to address the questions directly to Mr. Abhejit. And I think I will continue my questions with discussion with Mr. Abhejit. Just now, I think Ms. Anupam mentions about the idea that a business need to continuously growing. A business that never grow would be slowly falling. And for I mean, Mr. Abhijit, maybe you can share with us how do you plan to grow the business? I mean, how the student entrepreneur could actually plan to grow the business?
Well, I think the best way to grow a business is uh, I'm sure you understand the concept of finding a product market fit, right? So let your customers tell you what way you need to go. I think that's the simplest way to move forward. If whatever you're building, if you find ways and means that, okay, I started out with something, but my customers or the market is telling me to go in a different direction, I think that's the way that you should move. Uh, it is very important to continuously get customer feedback and understand what people want from you as a business. The point that you are more customer centric makes you more useful to the market, right? And you can wade your way through. So once you understand that, okay, these are the top 2 or 3 problems that the customer wants, that the customer is facing, and this is how I'm able to solve them. Then you have like a replicable model to grow. Uh, like even at the beginning, as I said, that you may start with a specific idea, but you may end up doing something completely different from what you started, because that's what the customer wants you to. Uh, Always get customer feedback, and having setting like being able to set that process is very important. So once you have like a replicable process of doing something, then you can actually grow that to the next level. So always focus, once you have experimented enough uh, on what you're able to achieve, uh, just start focusing on building a very strong process, so that the entire cycle becomes repetitive. And once you are at that stage where you can build a repetitive process, is when you can start growing.
Yeah, indeed. Uh, to build on the product that could sell, and that would be the most important thing that for any entrepreneur. Uh, and I think that just now you have shared that during your experience in the building your business, in funding, in setting up your first entrepreneurs, in setting up your own business, first business, you have managed to get around 7 people in your team.
Right.
But I think that could you just share with us how did you build your team, and how could we actually attract people to be part of our team? I mean, we have our brilliant business idea, but we want to do everything by ourselves, but I think it would not be possible. And how could we actually attract people to be part of a team and we have nothing to show yet? Yeah, do you have any idea?
Yes, that's a very tricky part, and that always becomes a question. So I think the whole premise is you talk to as many people as possible, and share your business idea with them. I think just to build a little prelude to this, a lot of student entrepreneurs always think that, what if I tell my idea and someone steals it, right? That's a very common question that I get. But then I think what's out there is, your idea is worthless, quite frankly, if it's not put into action, right? A lot of people may say that, oh, Uber is something that I thought 5 years before they launched. Oh, Facebook is something that I thought before it launched, or maybe Zoom is something that Skype was building or Microsoft was building like way too early than it began. But then today we are all on Zoom and not Skype, because they focused on the execution part. They focused on getting more customers with them, right? So uh, I think uh, that's the so the execution part of an idea is more important than the idea itself, right? So that's one part, and which is why you should be more open about sharing your business ideas to as many people as possible. And once you find people that are interested uh, in joining hands with you, they'll come to you, right? So once you keep telling enough people that, hey, I'm doing this, do you want to be a part of it, right? It's There is going to be a lot of uh, like, you may not find the right team always before. Like, the team that I started out in my first venture, and by the time I moved out of it 3 years back, had completely changed, right? So the founders, like, we started as 7 people, but eventually there were just 3 people who were like 4 people who were part of the startup, and I moved like and then even then we had certain issues in between us. So it is very important to have that communication between founders on what you want to build. In my second venture, uh, the co-founder that I got, he actually moved out after 3 months of starting, and I struggled really hard for the next few months to actually build my product. So uh, finding a team is a very difficult part. There are certain ways, like you can, as I said, that you can go out and participate in these business conferences, startup events. Uh, there are co-founder dating events that happen. Go and speak to people who are thinking on the same line. So there's no rule book to it on how do you find a co-founder. So they say it like finding an investor or a co-founder is pretty much like a marriage, like finding a life partner. So uh, you have to date a lot of people to find the one that you want to marry. So yeah, it's goes the same way.
Yeah, I like your metaphor of dating with a lot of people before finding the the correct team. Right? I think that we have questions from Nguyen. How do we know when the product is launched at the market acceptance stage? Uh, do
Uh,
you have any idea on this part, on this
how do
question?
you know that the product is so can you help me understand this a little bit more, like do you want to say like is the
I
product
think,
perfect enough to be launched?
yeah, when the product is perfect enough to be marketed, then how could we actually, but how do we know that this product is now marketable? Uh,
It's it's like a question that asks people about how can we perceive a product that people like it's very like really like it.
Right. So I think the best way, there are two schools of thought here. There are certain people who say that if you're not shipping early, you're failing, right? You're missing out on a lot of things. And there are some set of people who think that, okay, you need to build like a very strong product uh, till the point that you go out. Now, this also differs from the markets that you're working with, right? If you're building a product which is related to finance or fintech or like anything related to banking, if you even if you have like a 0.1% error in that, which means that you're playing with people's money, right? So if I want to transfer like $100 from one bank account to another and I'm able to transfer only 99, people will lose faith in my product, right? So in that case, you need to build a product which is transferring that $100 again and again and again without breaking down, right? Over a million times over, and then probably there might be like obviously no system is perfect. There are errors, but then yeah, you want to keep doing that so that people have faith in the system. So especially in markets or in products like these where you are either playing with people's money or people's health, that okay, let's say for example you build a new COVID test, right? And uh, maybe 4 times out of 10 it's shows a false result, right? It's not something that you want to go out and show it in the market. Probably maybe a 1 in 1,000 or 100,000 tests you may have an error. That's acceptable. Like there are errors in every system, but you wouldn't want like a 40% error margin. uh, so health, finance, and a couple of more similar markets which are very sensitive, uh, is where you need to build a product which is very correct, which is to the optimum level. Maybe you're building a bike, you're building a car, and you don't want to build a car which might lose a bolt while driving, or which might have a gas leak half the way that you are uh, on your path, right? So for such kind of products, there's an extensive level of testing that's required, and obviously so several governments have their rules and regulations around such kind of products. So yes, that is required. In certain products you have an acceptable error margin that you can achieve, right? So uh, ship faster in those kind of sections, right? So let's say for example, I want to do uh, a, a grocery delivery, like a hyper local delivery startup, right? And let's say I said like for example you want to do this hyper local grocery delivery, or you want to do like you want to take people from one place to another. Maybe yeah, your map or your addresses or your delivery guys, they're messing up once in a while, but then you'll eventually perfect the system. So unless you're not delivering something which is very crucial, that okay, I sent the the wrong amount of potatoes to someone's house, and or I sent the wrong amount of vegetables to somebody else's house. It's not that you're playing with their health. So uh, the error margin or the impact of that error is not mortal, right? Or it's not highly financial. You can always correct that. So in those kind of places, like I would say, ship as fast as you can. Like if you're not shipping on early, you're losing out on customer feedback. So yeah, so those are the two school of thoughts and those two scenarios. I hope I've answered that question.
Yeah, I think that's a tough questions. And I personally, I think that maybe making a market survey, I mean, if you have a food, then you can actually ask your, I mean, get the market survey on the acceptance of the food, whether it is tasty and whether the price is affordable, then people are willing to pay that sum of money to buy the products. Then I think that could also be another way to go around. I think we have another questions from the participants here. For entrepreneurs who serve society in social entrepreneurship way, in especially in rural area, in locations that did not have enough resources, do you have any idea or experience for them? How could actually any idea to assist them to grow? I mean, particularly for social entrepreneurship.
Sorry, I didn't get that question properly.
For the entrepreneurs who serve the society through the social entrepreneurship way, especially in the rural areas, to help the poor, or I mean, to and in the sanitations and so on, and in locations that do not have enough resources, do you have any idea how they could actually grow? Any insights? Any?
Yes. So in such a scenario where the person that you're trying to sell does not have enough money or is not able to pay, there's always someone who's ready to pay for that, right? So for example, if you're working in the toilets, like sanitation sector, so for example, I, like, as part of the Clean India mission or Swachh Bharat, we were building toilets in villages, right? And like people, we built it for people who did not even have like a pakka house. Like they did not have a proper house. They were living in a very uh, uh, like poorly built house, but the government was paying for building that toilet, right? Which was like a very strong structure. Or if you consider education, that there are a lot of people, there are a lot of kids who cannot afford quality education, but then there are NGOs, or there's the government, or there are CSR funds that are paying for it, or there are people who are donating money for you to uh, uh, teach those students, right? So those kind of opportunities are there. So in a social entrepreneurship, there is always this challenge or on who pays for the service. And I think the best, like, you'll have to figure it out again. Like there's no concrete answer to it. There is always, like, if it's a serious need, if, as I said that again, if there is a real requirement for what you're trying to serve, then there's always someone who's ready to pay for it.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you very much. And I think we have the next questions over here. We have heard a lot of success story, but it is unavoidable to make mistake when we first start up our business venture. From your experience, what are some of the mistake you wish you could have avoided? Would you like to share
Oh,
with us?
a lot. Absolutely. As I said, that one of the first things is doing market research. I think in some of the cases, I did poor market research, and I wish I would have done more. The second is obviously having clarity with my team members. I think one of the reasons that I had to move out of my first venture was because as co-founders we did not have clarity into what we were building or the future plans for the company or for us, right? Because I wanted to take the business to the next level, whereas my partners, they did not wanted to explore that kind of venture, right? They wanted to keep it going as it was. So I think it was the lack of communication between us as co-founders or partners of the venture. I think that's the another one. Uh, the third one is, I think it's also persistence in some level. I think in some cases I did not pursue the idea enough, or it would have been a larger, like it would have been a success. uh, the fourth one is, again, as I said, that I feel that I did not take enough industry experience to understand on how should I run my own company, right? I think I lacked that work ethic in certain ways to understand how a process is run, how a company is built, how to manage employees, how to manage partners, all of those things. So I did two small jobs. After my second venture, I worked for a friend's company as a consultant. And that's where I got to learn a lot about how a company is built, how processes are built, how to manage finances, all of those things. So that's why I said, like, initially, it is important that before you start up as a student entrepreneur, get some sorts of industry experience. And also, obviously, like having that financial capacity. Like for me, I did not have like a lot of financial backing to start my own venture. So uh, during after my second venture, I pretty much lost all of my money that I was trying to put in. But then after that, I built enough cash so that I can survive for a certain period of time without having to worry about the money, right? So when you are like, maybe if you're doing an internship or you're saving enough, have that some sorts of cushion money that you can fall back on when things go south, when things are not running, and that's when you're able to persist, right? So even like currently, while I'm running this non-profit venture, there were times when we did not have projects, when we did not have money in the account, and we had salaries to pay, uh, when we had to struggle. But then uh, we had some cash in hand that really helped us to go to a certain level. So we had that buffer money to help us move uh, to the next level and really survive this. So even for like this year when the pandemic hit, uh, we had like a lot of our partners failed in paying us money on time, and we had very little money to survive, and there were a lot of salaries, a lot of pending amounts that we could not pay in time. So we had to like defer payments at certain levels. We had to prioritize which payments to pay for, and that buffer money actually helped us uh, take there. So yes, those are the two three things that you need when you're starting up, and which I
Yeah,
will
I think that's not.
yeah.
I think that's not two, three things, more than two, three things that they have shared. The market research, to have proper communications with the team, being persistent, having some industry experience, and I think the last would be to maintaining the cash flow is very important, right?
Absolutely.
Being the entrepreneurs, yeah. So I think that this would be my last questions. If you had one piece of advice to someone just starting out, what would it be? Yeah, just for the benefits of our participants here. If you have one piece advice to someone just starting out, what would it be?
Yes. So I think this is something that I use in my deck also right now for our venture. We say that it's not about ideas, but it's about making ideas happen. So don't talk, just do things. Like if you can show and do things, I think that matters beyond anything else. It doesn't need to be like a very fancy idea. If you're running a business, it should make profits. That's all. So yeah, more talk. Less talk and more action.
Thank you very much. Yeah, indeed, less talk and more action. And so I guess this is the end for our sharing session today. And once again, I am thankful to Mr. Abhejit and all participants who have participated in this event. And thank you to Mr. Abhejit for providing us with such informative and insightful knowledge as regards of startups from a really multi-dimensional viewpoint. Thank you very much for everyone for joining us today, and we wish you all the best for your future endeavors. If you are celebrating, we would like to, for everyone else, Happy New Year. Together, we hope for a great 2021 ahead, right? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, we really appreciate that.